station will change 3 times a day. It's extremely volatile. Now, I don't know, that's not justified either. However, our objective is to drive price stability within a bound, within a range. And I think crude, as you mentioned, the crude oil price is the primary driver. But we are in a processing business, so obviously the refining supply and demand also plays a role in driving that. And you see that there is some volatility because we price off a marker of the finished product, whether that's a diesel price, a flat diesel price, or a gasoline price. So we need to monitor that within a range. So our objective is to drive stability, but it has to be within a range of the international benchmarks that we otherwise compete in. And I think just to put that in perspective, if you look at the stability over the price, I think we're now going to come to the 4-week anniversary or the 1-month anniversary of the $6.99 gantry price, right? And look at the geopolitics and the wild ride that the oil price has had in the meantime, but yet we have sustained price stability here at the pump, particularly during this festive season, all with our own production. So I think that's something that's very important to note, that when you see the volatility out there in our inputs, which is the crude oil price or the product markers, and seeing those fluctuate and the volatility that comes, we are trying to insulate as much as possible the Nigerian market and bring stability to the Nigerian market. If you are fully import dependent, then you are fully exposed to the fluctuation in those markers of either crude or product price that we're talking about. So having that domestic production capability drives a level of insulation from the outside world, from the global volatility that you see in both crude and products. So the idea here is ruthless replication. So we will not need to then tinker, we will not then need to re-engineer, so we can get straight into ordering the long lead items and commencing construction. So we are firmly of the belief that we will be able to build this plant within 3 years. So in terms of milestones this year, 2 things in parallel. In the immediate term, we'll be placing all of our long lead procurement items, which we aim to complete in the first months of 2026. And then as early as before the end of this month, starting some of our piling work, so commencing some of our site preparation. Now, the incredible thing about this site and the vision of the president, if you look at the landscape, you can see that already that land has been reclaimed and prepared and raised a meter and a half above where it was in the past. So all of that land is now ready for the expansion. All that pre-investment has been done. So none of the normal timeline that would come into project execution on site preparation is really now. All of that has been done. We can get straight into piling and beginning the foundations. So that'll be done this year in parallel with the procurement, and then we expect to see steel coming out of the ground as early as the end of this year. So our belief is that we can bring this expansion online within 3 years. Listing, sorry, good point. Yes, so listing. So again, very, very proud to be part of something that the president is absolutely passionate that every Nigerian can feel a part of. And you can do that with an ownership mentality and seeing everyone having the opportunity to invest in the refinery, and his passion is every Nigerian owns a piece of Dangote. So our desire is to then list a portion. That's not a fixed portion. That will be as much, up to a limit of course, but as much as we see the capacity and interest in the market. First, obviously, institutional placement and then retail, and we aim to do that within this year.
How about lawyers?
So we're engaging advisors and financial institutions in order to prepare for that. So certainly I have been warned that my April will be extremely busy. I shouldn't be planning holiday at that time. So we're full steam ahead now. In terms of the formal appointment, that is still in progress.
How are we be able to resolve these technical issues?
So what was the question on October?
Engineers were sacked
Some engineers were sacked
in October.
Okay. No, so I think, now I've got to remember the question. Sorry, the first question, so 50 million litres per day of production, how much has been evacuated? Yeah, so look, it's been very volatile, but we have celebrated over 50 million litres of offtake as well, which means over 1,000 trucks progressing through the gate and through the gantry. So really learning and continuously improving our logistics and our turnaround time of getting those trucks through. We see, in fact, we designed only on daytime loading, and we're already doing nighttime loading, so it's a 24-hour operation. So we have been easily able to achieve over 1,000 trucks of offtake. So it's not just the production, it's also the offtake that has achieved that 50 million litres a day. And then look, it's volatile, right? So we see a dip on the weekends and so forth. And obviously it all depends on the demand and what is further inland in terms of stocks and volumes. But very confident going forward that will be the offtake, or certainly as needed. If not, we can export. But for me, the primary objective of engagements like this is to have shown a demonstrable track record that we can continue to produce over 50 million litres a day. And then we'll see where the true market demand is of Nigeria. There's a lot of speculation on that. Having a lower price, having abundance of supply will also stimulate demand, right? Which is a good thing, right? That will continue to stimulate economic activity by having stable, affordable, clean fuels available. So I do expect also the demand to increase as a result of now the stability and abundance of our product. I've just forgot the second question, sorry. Oh, the distribution. So yeah, as you've seen, so 4,000 trucks now are on site. I think we're the world's largest parking lot. The final steps in the implementation of that is a computerized security system. So it's absolutely paramount for us to ensure that there is no shortage in the delivery and the arrival at the customer's doorstep. So right now we're implementing a very computerized security system to ensure that the customer can have absolute confidence that then when they purchase a volume from us, they get what they paid for delivered to their gate. So we're implementing that system as we speak. And then the last one on the reorganization. I think a lot of that has been spoken about in the past. I don't think it's really worth revisiting in terms of now what is our current staffing and capability building. And now I think one thing looking forward is the expansion. So we have now this 3-year window, and sorry, I didn't introduce Gloria. Gloria is our Chief of Human Resources. We're spending a lot of effort now planning how do we increase, not just for the first phase of operation, but how do we now double down and bring in that capability, that local capability, train and upskill that local capability on the running plant so that we can have maximum local capability to experience the commissioning and startup. Because if you'd asked me before I came here, I would have said commissioning and startup is a once-in-a-career opportunity, and then as soon as I arrive, we announce another expansion. So there's another commissioning and startup opportunity for the employees here after having experienced the first commissioning and startup. What would otherwise have been a once-in-a-career opportunity is now happening in short order soon after. So a lot of focus now on really ramping up our skills and capability programs to support the expansion and ensuring that we not only maintain local capability to run the existing plant, but we have a 3-year window now to maximise that opportunity for the expansion startup.
Pushing petrochemicals like polypropylene and the rest, and integrating it into the global value chain.
So petrochemicals is a key part of it, and the beauty of this investment is it's already, whilst it's predominantly a fuels refinery, we're a gasoline machine, but already there is petrochemicals, so polypropylene. Now right now we have a polypropylene plant, 800,000 tonnes. It just takes propylene from one of our units, the cat cracker. We are already investing, irrespective of the expansion, in what we call the PDH unit, and that will now take propane and upgrade propane into propylene, which then can go into the polypropylene plant. At one train, that would be 1.2 million. But we're ensuring that that capacity of that upgrading of the propane, not just propylene, but propane, is sufficient, in fact, oversized, to also accommodate the expansion. And that's what will get us to 2.4 million tonnes of polypropylene production once the expansion is fully online. So that's petrochemicals. But I think I'm very proud of the way businesses are evaluated here by Dangote. It's very much around what is population-led and import substitution. So right now with the expansion, and he was very clear to me to say, David, this is all about ensuring we do lowest cost, fastest to market expansion, hence the replication. But once that is in place, then that's the growth, that's the funding that can support expanding into other areas that are population-led import substitution. So that will primarily be things like detergent, so getting into linear alkyl benzene. That could be things like base oils and lubricants, right? Because right now it's 100% importation of lubricants. We're also looking into the LPG agenda. So how can we support the clean fuels objective of the country so that we can displace dirty cooking fuels and deforestation, and we can support that with clean LPG into households. So there's a lot of business diversification that will be supported once we get the pure capacity expansion from the 1.4 million tons first phase of investment. So, but those, whilst it was easy to get straight into procurement and construction of the replication, we will then already have to start those feasibility studies, ultimately front-end engineering, etc., to evaluate those expansion or those growth opportunities such as base oils, LAB, and LPG.